Chapter 126 Stitching Back Together. Summary. The crew are shown to their room and prepare for dinner. Don't mind Mina's internal crisis. It's totally fine. The amount of energy the teen guiding them through the bright open halls had, all the while holding himself with the same air of refinement as the others Mina had seen, was impressive. Excitement seemed to bubble up from a smile struggling to stay respectfully close-lipped. Every steady step forward he led them towards where they'd been offered to stay had a pep to it. It wasn't quite enough to pull Mina out of the small spiral she'd fallen into. Avuti, like the man they first met, looked unmistakably similar to her and her family. The teen had hair almost identical to what Mina's had been back on Earth, the only difference being the white color of the curls. And, she guessed, the extent of its placement. The off-the-shoulders teal top the teen wore revealed circular patches of white fur that grew on the top of their shoulders. She could say with confidence she didn't grow little patches of fur. She didn't have white horns or white hair, or eyes of some varying shade of blue like all the aliens she'd seen. But the fact that the majority of differences she could really point out was color-based didn't do anything to shake the possibility that she was somehow an alien. Now, there's nothing wrong with being an alien. Aliens were cool, and she wanted her hero name to be Alien Queen. But the fact that there was a chance she could be blindsided with having actual alien DNA was a little startling. Like, she knew it couldn't be too much. Someone would have noticed. She can eat spicy things and minty things and all the other types of poisons people on Earth like to eat. She certainly didn't die from the space plague, so that's more points towards being pretty human. Unless these guys were one of the other species that could shrug off plagues. Unless these guys were just the right type of Death Worlder. But they didn't even know if these guys were Death Worlders. What are the chances? Really? If she let herself look at the memories she was trying to keep buried, the ones of an arena on a death world, acid-resistant metals that had no right being that way unless the ones trapped down there had acid like her, and a mistaken name that maybe wasn't so mistaken, she thought the chances were pretty good. The words Ovuti was speaking finally registered as he turned his black eyes expectantly towards her. "And I'm joining the guild?" he asked. Mina blinked, because she definitely didn't catch anything for the past couple of minutes, and she wasn't exactly sure what he had asked. Thankfully, before she had even started trying to fumble her way through the question, Denki came to her rescue. "Oh, it was basically all luck. We were close to a ship that sent out a distress signal, and when we checked it out, it was a crew from the guild who gave us a business card. And who can say no to being a space pirate?" Denki smiled the whole way through, matching the alien teen's excited energy. But Avuti seemed glum. Turning back to her, the white-haired teen asked another question. "I've heard tales of you and your crew. Everyone knows you're Death Worlders, but I didn't know you were, well, you," he said, like that explained everything. He continued on excitedly. "They say your acid can melt through metal like it's nothing. Is that true?" Specifically not thinking about the last bit of metal or the pain in her ankle, she said, "If I can wrap my hands around it, pretty much." Her next step sent jolts up her leg. "Hands?" His confusion was evident. She resisted the urge to grit her teeth as a breath pulled at a caught stitch. "Yeah, hands. It's a lot faster if my acid can work at it from all sides. Things like vent grates are really easy." She really should not have thought about her ankle, ignoring the burning pulse from her still healing ankle, that she should really get off because the few days she spent off it definitely weren't enough. Was getting harder. "Are we almost there yet?" Ochako asked, interrupting the boy just as he was opening his mouth, probably to question Mina further. Switching his attention to Ochako with a hesitant reluctance, he replied, "Yes, it's right up ahead. Apologies for the trek. Normally it's a much more direct route from the guest hangar to the diplomat wing, but there was a bit of an incident. The floor should be whole again in a few hours." They don't have much to do in the hours before dinner. Mina is thankful for the rest. Talking fills the time. Talk about how much trust they should place in their hosts. Very little was the universal answer, though apparently Izuku had awakened yet another of his ghost quirks, which had, as Denki put it, vibe-checked them and found them chill. Talk about how long it would take to fix their ship. Days, if nothing needed replacing, which, given the word spaghetti had been used to describe the ship's condition multiple times, some things definitely did, in which case it could be weeks. Talk about the offer of dinner. Agreeing to go, but only if Izuku's new quirk and Mei's scanner came along for the food. Talk about letting the guild know how the people who had asked for their help had treated one of their own. They weren't sure what the group's reaction would be, just hoped that they at least told the other members to steer clear of their government, for their own safety. Despite how much they talked, Mina was sure their conversation could have lasted hours, if not for the rapt knocking on the door. Pushing off from where he'd been leaning against the wall, Katsuki made for the door. Izuku kept ready in his position, perched on the edge of the bed they'd commandeered. Mei straight up just pulled out a gun. She was still tense when Katsuki yanked open the door, but not as much as she could have been, and certainly not as stiff as the old man standing at the other side of the door with a stack of soft parcels in his arms. "The youth these days," he muttered, voice smooth despite the aged quality. "Dinner will commence in a few short hours. While your presence is not required, we would be honored." He took a graceful step into the room and placed the bundles down on a table. "Please accept these articles of clothing in the event you decide to attend. If there is a matter regarding size or taste, do not hesitate to inform someone." And with that, he was off, leaving them with 6 oversized packages. Curiosity tugged Mina towards it. The idea of being without her undersuit kept her rooted in place. "Deku?" Ochako asked, question clear. Izuku bit his lip. "Well, everything seems okay, but I said I don't know how accurate danger sense is." "Good enough for me," Denki said, snatching the one from the top of the pile. Katsuki shot a glare his way, but made no move to stop him. The shirt he pulled out was a deep red, neck long enough it made Mina reconsider classifying it as a shirt. A warm gray blazer followed, metal adornments clacking as its cut-tiered sleeves moved. The sleek, high-waisted pants matched the jacket in color and heavy material. "Dibs!" Mei called, as she swooped in and snatched the clothes, package and all, out from under Denki. "No fair," he whined, but reached for the next package without a fuss. "Can I see that?" Izuku asked Mei, who'd scurried back over to the bed and was sitting next to Mina. Mei leveled him a suspicious glance, and a look that said, "You better not try and steal it," before shifting out of the way. He leaned over from the opposite side of the bed, running the jacket's arms between his fingers. His green eyes flicked briefly to Mina before addressing Mei. "You could probably wear this over your undersuit. Nothing's too tight, and if you kept the gloves up, no one would even be able to see it." Mei nodded in agreement. "And I can hide a few babies up the sleeves. It's perfect." "I agree," Ochako said. She had a poofy peach and white bundle of delicate-looking fabric in her arms. "I can totally hide my staff in this skirt, and if I roll down the neck, poof, costume gone." "Oh, Kachan," Denki crooned, holding up a broad-shouldered suit jacket with a near floor-length cape sprawling off the back. You could totally fit your bow under here. It's even black, like your soul. Okay, sure, Katsuki smirked, walking over to pluck the faded blue waistcoat whose flared coattails more closely resembled an open-fronted skirt. Your rope on a stick would fit with this. Denki gasped dramatically in a way that made Mina giggle. I only made fun of your soul. How dare you call my totally badass whip names? Also, I'll look fucking great in that. Yeah, you will, Katsuki said, more knowing than mocking, as he handed the coat over along with its bundle. Ochako handed over the last two mystery outfits, one to Mina and one to Izuku. Mina waited, hands clenched around the soft packaging tightly, as Izuku pulled out a puff-sleeved white shirt that would certainly fit his collapsed shield under. He grumbled slightly at the yellow sleeveless waistcoat, though. Then it was just the package in her lap. She both wanted to open it and didn't. She wanted to inspect the craftsmanship, to see just what kind of stitching had been used to get the clothes to look so sleek, yet allow it to stretch to fit a wider range of sizes. But she also didn't want yet another set of clothes offered to her, to be stained with blood. Under the eyes of her family, she slid fingers between fabric and pulled something out. Said something was soft and sleek, gliding beneath her fingers. It was an icy blue fabric, embroidered with gems that sparkled like midnight snow. Waterfalls of skirts flowed from the waist, long enough to hover just above the floor. The shoulders reached partway up the neck, leading down into the flowing sleeve that cinched at the wrists. It was a far cry from the simple shirt that had pieces stolen from it for bandages, or the comfortable leggings that had lost their softness after their first coating of blood. Real care had been put into this. She could tell by the simple stitching of every gem that never wavered. The extravagance of the dress outshone the others, despite being no less complex or well-crafted. It looked fit for a queen.